Let's get more on the story. TRT World analyst Yusuf Erim joins me now in the studio. Many thanks for speaking to us, Yusuf. Do you think an invasion of Idlib is now inevitable, or could there be some sort of last-minute ditch deal to get the rebels out, which could stop any confrontation by the Syrian regime?
It's not inevitable because we can see from the amount of whirlwind diplomacy going on right now, especially between the Turks and the Russians and the Iranians, that Turkey is trying to solve this situation diplomatically. They don't want a regime offensive going into Idlib. There's a lot of people there. And what they're trying to do is solve this by determining the extremist groups that are making the regime and Russia uncomfortable. And hopefully a deal could be reached between Turkey and Russia, which the regime would agree on, where Turkey could go in and neutralize these extreme groups, most namely the HTS. So if a deal could be reached, Turkey could neutralize the HTS and Russia and the regime would be okay. Maybe a last-ditch scenario where they can avoid a regime offensive, and this would probably make everybody happy.
Given what we have seen of the past in Syria, in other parts of Syria, and what the Syrian regime have done with Russia, is there any plan for the over 3 million Syrians who have escaped to Idlib, some sort of evacuation plan for where they could go if an offensive does occur?
Normally during the conflict, Turkey was the destination of choice, but that doesn't seem like an option this time around. Turkey's already housing 3.5 million Syrian refugees. There's an economic crisis right now in Turkey, so they just don't have the finances to house another 1 million or 2 million refugees. So where are they going to go? That's anybody's guess. This is one of the main reasons why this problem needs to be solved diplomatically, because a regime offensive will result in a massive evacuation of Idlib. Where are these internally displaced people going to go? Maybe Jarablus, maybe Al-Bab. These cities are already at heavy capacity. So a regime offensive could spark what could be the greatest humanitarian disaster of the 7.5-year conflict that we've seen.
It's difficult to imagine things could actually get worse for people in Syria. What impact would an offensive, especially with Russia's involvement in Idlib, have on relations between Turkey and Russia, given Turkey and Russia have worked together on de-escalation zones, etc.? If something were to happen, how would that impact their relationship?
Now, aside from the Astana process that brought us the de-escalation zones, Turkey and Russia, and also let's add Iran into this part of the conversation, these three countries have a lot of mutual national interests at the moment. So they have pragmatic leaders. They can compartmentalize the issues at hand. Now, Idlib, yes, that's one issue, but when we're talking about the Turkey-Russia relationship right now, it's a very deep relationship. You have the S-400s, you have the nuclear power plant, you have trade between both countries, you have tourism between both countries. These are all very, very important to both countries because both countries are facing U.S. sanctions at the moment. Between Turkey and Iran, you have energy security. Turkey buys a lot of its gas and oil from Iran. They've pledged support during Iran's sanctions that they're going to continue to buy gas and oil. This currency that will be flowing into Iran is also very, very important for them. So there's a lot of interests outside of Idlib that neither of these three countries will sacrifice just for Idlib. So I don't think it'll raise tensions between these other countries because a lot's at stake for them on other issues as well.
Very interesting. TRT World's analyst on Turkish affairs, Yusuf Erim. Many thanks.